Hey, shit. Pardon me. I went to turn the sound off. Hello there. I'm Scotty You're Not, and welcome back to Marvel Monday. We're looking at X-Men Days of Future Past, the Rogue Cut. Now, it's basically the same film with a few minor things. There's extended sequences and a mid-credit scene that wasn't in the original cut. And it's still a great movie. So I'm going to use this outlet to not only talk about the changes, but still some of the gruffs I have of this movie. I think this is my favorite of the X-Men. For the longest time, with X2 is the best, X2 is the best. When they announced they were going to adapt Days of Future Past, I went, well, that's it. This is going to blow one out of the water. And to me, it did. Was it perfect? No. My man Bishop got screwed because Wolverine's the star of this series. They even talk about sending Bishop back. And I know we're going to send the Professor. But actually, Wolverine is the only one that would survive it. Now, if we're going realistic, yes. That makes perfect sense. And then, of course, you have, the cartoon where it was Bishop. Bishop gets totally freaking forgot about here. Why is he even in the movie? He's a background character, but whatever. All these new mutants that are not the new mutants, but all these new mutants that are new X-Men that are in this are pretty pointless. They don't do anything. There's background stuff. So, if you don't know, this was the original cut of the movie. And they cut it down and took Rogue out of a bunch of it. The other deleted scenes, her stuff. So, there's this. So then, there was rumors there was a Rogue cut. Eventually, it was released. Is this version better for having the Rogue stuff? No, but it does sort of make sense. I did notice a few things. I don't know if it was all of them, but when they go to get Quicksilver, there's a little more extended bit where it shows he has two sisters, the baby one and then the one that's younger than him. I'm assuming that the younger one is Wanda, although they're supposed to be twins, but I don't know. And then the baby is Polaris, I'm assuming. But I don't know how that works if they're all Magneto's kids. You know what I mean? I don't know. Unless Polaris is not Magneto's kid. But it's a little extended there. And then the next extended part, I thought it was going to be like right after. So, where Rogue comes in is that when Wolverine sees Stryker back in the 70s, he flips out. In the future, he slices Kitty. So, they have to go get Rogue, who is locked in a prison that used to be Cerebro. So they gotta go in there. In this version, Bobby sacrifices himself to save Rogue. Yeah. And if you remember from this version, he and Kitty are together now. So he goes there, he sacrifices himself to save Rogue. They get her out of there, and she takes over for Kitty. And there's also a scene where Logan feels that there's a change. But the whole action scene is really the extended part in there. And that's really it. Parts with Rogue. And then you have the mid-credit scene, which shows that Bolivar Trask is now locked in the prison, the Pentagon prison that Magneto was locked in. I don't know why, because it was specifically designed for Magneto, but I don't know. But it's generally the same film, right? Same issues, same good stuff as my review. But I'm going to use this as an outlet to get more gripes. Whenever I rewatch a movie, I rediscover gripes. Gripe number 1. Why does the serum that nerfs Professor X's powers give him the ability to walk. It makes no sense because in this continuity, he lost his legs not because of his powers. Like in the cartoon and stuff, I don't know what the comics, but the cartoon and stuff, he lost the use of his legs because his brain power was stronger, so other stuff was going, so he lost his legs. So when he doesn't have his powers in the animated series, he can walk because that's the result of that. Here, it makes no sense because he was shot in the back, in the spine, and he can't walk anymore, and because of that. And it doesn't make any sense that his powers being gone would allow him to walk. Always frustrated me. Another frustrating thing. When Logan first shows up to get Charles. This version of me is Charles, not Professor Xavier yet. They get Charles. Yes, if he remembers him. Eventually he does, and he says, I do remember you. We came to ask you for help. I'm going to say the same thing you said to me. Fuck off. No, that's not what he said. They didn't get the line right. It's go fuck yourself, is what he says. That always bugs me whenever I watch this. That's not the line. They have great use of F-bombs in this, though. I think they wanted, maybe they wanted to make it a different line. Not just repeating the same line. But they go fuck yourself, fuck off. And then I love Eric's line in Apocalypse. Who the fuck are you? When he says to Apocalypse. But, yeah. My next nitpick. Why do they need Magneto? When they go back, they said, oh, you're going to need Charles, you're going to need me. Why do you need Magneto? Magneto is not needed in this, or Apocalypse, or Dark Phoenix. You could have omitted him from all three of these, and it wouldn't have mattered. He's written in this. He has a bigger plot story in this one, but the next two, he's a horseman of the Apocalypse. Okay, you could give it to someone else, right? And in Dark Phoenix, they really don't have anything for him to do. You know, he's brought back in an Apocalypse because his family died. Okay, there's a story plot point for you. Dark Phoenix, literally nothing. The only reason he's in is because Jean shows up at Genosha to take refuge, and then like destroys the place. So now he's angry at her. That's it. Oh, and she killed Raven. That's it. Just, you know, Wolverine's ending in this film. Not the future stuff, although that becomes a complaint when they completely disregard it. Twice. Although, Logan, so I said this in my Facebook group, I think there's like different timelines here. That's the only reason in my headcanon I can see it. So, X-Men Origins Wolverine is one universe, because there's just too many discrepancies to connect it to the main storyline. Logan is a possible future in another universe, right? And then this one is the mainline universe now. They came in, they fixed it, and then they ruined it. Because Dark Phoenix kills off Jean, even though, oh look, there's a Phoenix in the sky, who knows? But it still kills her off. Even though we saw at the end of this movie that she's still alive in whatever, 2024 or whatever it was, which is now, but you know what I mean. It's confusing. Logan doesn't break that future timeline because it's way into the future now, but I don't know. Little nitpick. I remember when I first went to see this, I was a little bothered by the fact that it doesn't just pick up from the end of the last one. Then the last one was 2013. So you're telling me we went 11 years into the future now? Because, I mean, it would have been enough. I understand that the comics and the animated series, they're all in the far distant future when they travel back. But here, you have an out. You could be in 2013 or 2014 by this point, and then travel back to the 1970s, and it would be the exact same thing. You know what I mean? It would make sense, right? I will say that Halle Berry's not in this enough, and it's because she was pregnant at the time, so She couldn't do much. That's fine. But one last gripe before I go. Like I said, Wolverine's end. He gets flung out by Magneto, which is fine because it should be Charles and Magneto having that face-off. What I don't like is when he's pulled up out of the water, because in the future, he's asked, what's the last thing you remember? And he says, drowning. And you go back, and you show him, and you show Stryker pulling him out, and it's all fine and dandy. Like, we need to, start doing experiments or whatever. It's setting up that he's going to be in a Weapon X program. Sure. But then they do the trickery where Stryker's eyes glow as if it's Mystique. And this makes no sense and is never brought up again. In Apocalypse, she's held captive with them. And when Wolverine shows up, there's nothing. She's not like, although she's not one of them that meets him though, so maybe that. It's Jean and Scott and Nightcrawler, I think, that sees him. But still, by the way, I don't think Apocalypse is as bad as you think it is, but there are some issues. But like, there's no mention of what she was doing since then. She's saving people, saving mutants, but I don't know. Oh, I thought I was going to nitpick, but I'll get to that. But like, yeah, it's just, yeah. Kind of stupid to make it, oh, it's Mystique, but it makes no sense. One final nitpick here, okay? Killing off all the other mutants because you decided to change what the next movie was going to do. So, clearly, we were going to have a straightforward sequel to X-Men First Class because you set up the X-Men that you had so far, which the only remaining X-Men was Banshee, right? Banshee and Charles and Beast, and that's it. And then you have the Brotherhood, which consisted of Magneto and Mystique and Azazel, Emma Frost, and Tornado Dude, I think, was still alive. They were there. But then they're like, no, we're going to do this now, so we don't need them, so we killed them off. Including Banshee, which is like, I don't know. Why? Right? Why? We're all just dead because of the experiments that Boulevard Trask was doing. Yeah, just, I don't know, it's killing them off because we changed our minds and didn't have room for them. Another one I just thought of too is Boulevard Trask's plan. So this whole thing, they have to go back in time to the 1970s, or I think it's 1977, the 1970s. They said in the original timeline that Trask got this approved in the 1970s. Why wasn't it till 2013 that they started doing this stuff? Did it take that long to perfect it? I get it, in the 1970s they didn't have much technology, but what they showed here, pretty advanced for the 1970s. It took that long till 2013 for anything to get moving, progress, and then just 10 short years. Think about that. It took 1970s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, roughly 50 years or so, give or take a few years, to get it going, and only 10 years for the Sentinels to take over and go after mutants, and then after the humans who are carrying mutant genes that their children or grandchildren would have. But it took 50 years, give or take, for it to even, the project to become a reality. Right? If you had introduced this idea in the first X-Men when the Mutant Registration Act was a thing, then maybe, I believe, it was set back because of what Magneto did in the first one. But they were not even brought in. They were not even mentioned. There was nothing. The only mention The only thing to do with the Sentinels was in X-Men: The Last Stand, which was a danger room test, which now makes no sense because how did they know then what it looked like? You know what I mean? There's a lot of inconsistencies between the prequel movies and the original ones, where like Charles and they talk about how Charles and Eric are like best friends and stuff, and they recruited together, but like they only knew each other really for a few days before Eric went rogue. Not like that, but you know what I mean. Well, he went rogue, and yeah, that's just confusing. But does it really change anything? Not really. It's still give or take. It's still the same movie, give or take. You know, either way, I should say, it's still the same movie, just extra added scenes. But yeah, thank you for giving me this time to talk about the differences and gripe a little bit on this movie, because you know I like to do that. Yes, so next week we're back on the TV show. It's going to be Spider-Man Unlimited. But in 2 weeks' time, we're going back to the movies. And we're going to talk about Punisher Warzone. Oh, yeah. Haven't seen it before, but I hear good things. So thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.